Hello, Facebook Live. It's Marcus here. It is 12:30. 12:30. Another hectic day. Another head-spinning day here. Tuesdays are my day that I work with a lot of our coaching clients, and so I switch gears and help other restaurants market and succeed. And just got done with our last phone call here. Tuesday. Sometimes I do that on Thursdays too, but Tuesday's my day to do that. So I'm at my desk here. I want to talk about something that was very successful just recently. Talk about that. And Jamie and I were sitting here also brainstorming. It's rainy out today. It's just a really monsoonish day. I haven't gone for my run yet either. I'm going to go here soon, put on a raincoat and get a couple miles in, rain or shine. So we're sitting here thinking, well, there's not going to be many people that want to sit outside under our tent. We have limited space inside the dining room, so we're kind of thinking maybe we should do a really good takeout deal tonight. So that's what we're kind of thinking, maybe like a $9.99 meatloaf to go or something. Not sure yet, not sure. So we might shoot a quick email up or something, or maybe Jamie will decide by the time I'm done with this Facebook Live here what we'll do. But we're gonna do some kind of $9.99 deal or something tonight for takeout only because of the rain. It clears up later tonight, like 7, 8 o'clock, and it becomes windy. I'm not sure how windy, but it shows some more than normal winds happening. So it's 12:30. I'm in my office here. I'm going to do a Facebook Live later, too. I'm going to be a sort of a guest on somebody else's restaurant's Facebook Live later this afternoon, making a big announcement with them. So I guess I can tell you guys. I guess I can tell you where I'll be. I'll be in Goshen doing a Facebook Live with Franz from Craft 47 and Kitchen Pharmacy, Kitchen and Bar, which is his new place across the street. So I'll be doing a Facebook Live with him later. We have a big announcement, him and I, that we're working on. Let's see. Jamie, you've been thinking about a $9.99 special tonight? Should we do meatloaf for $9.99? Think about it. Let me make sure I have enough meatloaf that we don't sell out. So
I was thinking $12.99 with potatoes or rice.
Oh, okay. Well, so with the side $12.99. That's even a better bargain. It's even a better bargain than I was presenting. So yeah. So maybe we'll do that. Let me make sure I have enough meatloaf. I don't want to sell out of meatloaf. Lobster rolls will be back tonight. We apologize, folks. We are going through so many lobster rolls and so many lobsters. That's why we're doing that tail sale. The tail sale still goes on until Friday. What did we sell yesterday in lobster tails? Couple cases of tails, like 20 pounds of tails we sold yesterday easily. So they come frozen. They're 7-ounce tails. We cryovac them, we weigh them 6 per person, and they're yours. Take home and cook. It is an extreme bargain at $21.99. Usually we charge $34.99, and most stores are going to charge that same exact price for that tail. If you go online and buy it from one of those other people that FedEx them into you, you're going to pay a lot more than that per pound. So it's a really good deal. All right, so I want to talk about this formula that we've discovered that's working very well. So it's our new wine tasting formats. For years we did formal wine tastings where we gave you 4 or 5 courses, 4 or 5 wines, and it was $65, $75, $69. It was somewhere up in that. And that was a good price for those, because a lot of restaurants do those for $100 or up. So, but we're in Ellenville, and for the longest time, people wouldn't just drive to Ellenville just to drive to Ellenville to eat or anything. It was, so you had to, we always thought we had to offer a better value with our wine dinners, which we did. Same thing with our beer dinners. But now we've come with this new formula, and we used to be able to, used to do that on Friday nights. We used to sell our wine dinners out most of the times, which was good. We have now come with a new formula that we can do midweeks, which has been, the last 2 have been very successful. We've actually sold out the last 2 times we did this, 2 weeks ago and last night. We do this new format on wine tastings where it's 4 wines and a dish to share. So if you're coming with your spouse, you share a dish. If you're coming solo person, that's perfectly fine as well. We just cut that portion size in half. But they're shareable plates, 4 wines, $25. And at that price point, we even heard from a guest last night that, when you go out to a wine dinner, and midweek you spend $80 a person for a wine dinner, so you and your wife, and then you have a cocktail first. You've already spent $200 on a Wednesday night. That's like $200 that was for your weekend, for your weekend fun, to go out to eat and do things in the weekend. So the price, $25 per person. If you went to a restaurant and ordered 2 glasses of wine, you're gonna pay $25 and not get any food. All right, that's just the reality of wine going to sit at a restaurant. So on these Monday nights that we're doing these, we're actually selling these out, and it's fantastic. So in 2 more weeks, we're going to do another one. We're going to do a Boltromagno. Boltromagno is a vineyard from Apulia as well. We're corresponding, if you've noticed, we're corresponding all the vineyard tastings that we do and all of our wine dinners we've done in the last 2 or 3 years. We've corresponded them with vineyards that we visit in Italy, vineyards that we support, vineyards that we go to, vineyards that we buy from. So that's what that story is. So Jamie and I have personal experience at most of the vineyards, so we can tell the story, tell more of the story, give more of an education of the wine. Next time in 2 weeks, on the 17th, the owner, Beniamino from Boltromagno, will be on the call with us. And again, it's at 6:30. It's going to be 12:30 or 1:30 in the morning in Italy. So Beniamino told me yesterday that he goes, I am a night owl and I'd love to join you guys. We'll pick the wines out and I'll drink the wines along with you guys. So I went today and got one of those big speakers for our backyard, so we can watch Beniamino and we can project his voice. So he'll be joining us at the tasting. It'll be me and Jamie. Patrick, again, who was our salesperson for that company, he was here last night. He's been to several of our events, really knowledgeable on wine. He's going to be back. And the owner of the vineyard will be joining us virtually from Italy, which is 6, 7, 8 hours ahead of us. And he's excited to do that. So we're super excited that he's doing that. And this is why we haven't done a lot of tastings with a lot of our Italian winery owners, friends, is because that time difference is so far that if we do an event at nighttime, they're literally at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning. And for us to get our act together, do something at noon, even if I just did a virtual like one-on-one at noon here, which is 6 o'clock their time, 7 o'clock their time, 8 o'clock their time, if I haven't figured that out on my schedule end yet, it's too early for me to be able to do something like that. So yeah, so that's the formula that we're going to be working forward with, is $25, 4 wines, and food included, 1 dish included, which is a formula we feel for success right now in our wine dinners moving forward. And hopefully at some point we'll be able to start doing beer events as well again. All of our wine events right now are done in our garden, socially distanced, and that's the story with that. So it's really a fun time. Last night was a really good time. And we get to sell, we're allowed now to sell wine to go, bottles of wine to go. I think we sold 7 cases of wine last night, 6 cases of wine. We ran out of the wine that most people wanted, so we have to order more of that this week. So when you come to our events, if there's a wine that you like, you can absolutely buy them. The average price of wine last night was $15 a bottle, which was a really good deal for you to take home, which is why we sold a ton of wine. There was one wine that was $30 a bottle, and we sold out of that one too, but we had a lot less in stock inventory of that one. That was the last wine we drank. So everybody, thank you. If you were at our event last night, thank you very much. We really, really appreciate it. We appreciate the support. So Jamie, what are we going to do for tonight? Meatloaf? Oh, I have to go check and make sure we have enough.
Make sure we have enough, so stay tuned for our email.
I'll shoot an email out, and so we'll include a side of potatoes with that.
Potatoes or rice?
Potatoes or rice. Okay, so we'll include a side with that. Let me go make sure I have enough of that in stock, and then I will come back and sit at this desk right here and draft an email up and get some graphic art stuff done for tonight, so we can do that big promotion. Everybody stay dry. Stay dry out there. It's nice that it's cooler out now. It's really nice with our air conditioners off here in the office. We don't need to run it, so that's the beautiful thing about it. And it is really pouring out there right now, like really, really pouring. And I'm gonna, like I said, go out for a run here, probably as soon as I'm done with that email. Anything else, Jamie, that I need to talk about?
No.
Call the day of.
This weekend.
Call the day of for reservations. The day of for reservations. When you come in, it works the best. Since when we get rain like this, it's hard for us to accommodate all the people. If we took reservations well ahead of time, then we'd be way oversold on a night like tonight. So this is the main reason that we tell everybody to call the day of for reservations. while I'm on, is there any questions I can answer for anybody? If anybody has any questions, food questions, Roma time questions, whatever, that'd be great. I can answer some now. Because I'm sort of out of stuff to say for a change. I'm kind of like at a point where this would be like one of my shortest Facebook lives. I've been known to go up to an hour and 15 minutes when I get talking about salmon and things like that. And speaking of salmon, on our Facebook page yesterday, I posted our good friend Don Staniford, who is on the front line of the salmon farms, the corruption of the salmon farms in Scotland. He is one of the main activists there trying to expose what's going on in the farm salmon world, and these so-called sustainably farmed Scottish fish are nothing but a joke. It's a scam. It's called scam. He also calls it scamming. I posted a video of him. He actually jumped over a fence to get into one of these properties where he's showing you the mortality tubs, the dead tubs of fish, and he pops open these. They're in their parking lots, and it stinks. You can imagine throwing dead fish into a dumpster and letting it sit there for a couple of days in the summertime. And this is one of the main odors and stenches that comes out of these salmon farms all over the world. Doesn't matter where. Doesn't matter if you're in the Faroe Islands. Doesn't matter if you're in Scotland. Doesn't matter if you're in Norway. Doesn't matter if you're in Chile. Doesn't matter if you're in British Columbia or Newfoundland or wherever you're at. Every salmon farm has a mortality rate, and some of these mortality rates are very high, in the 20%. That means 2 out of every 10 fish were sick and died in that farm. If you consumed cattle, if you drove by a cattle ranch, a feedlot, and 2 out of every 10 cattle, 2.5, 2.3 cattle out of every 10 were lying there dead, and they took these cattle and threw them in a massive dumpster in the parking lot and let it build in the middle of the week, you'd see like, this isn't right. Why am I eating this? Salmon farms hide it because it's all underwater. So he jumped the fence, got in, opened up the mortality bin, saw, and he goes, "This is fresh fish here. These are fish that just recently died." And the thing was almost full to the top already. And he explains that, I think he even mentions the salmon farm name. This is such and such salmon farm, and they're certified sustainable, but yet their certified sustainability still kills all these fish every single day, every single week. All these fish are still dying because they're living in polluted water. They're getting disease. They're getting lice. They're getting an infectious disease of some sort. So-called sustainable fish are susceptible to all this disease. So that was we appreciate Don doing his work and educating people on that, because the best choice for salmon is wild salmon. Truly wild caught salmon is still your best bet for salmon. But when it comes to really being technical about your health, and super technical about your health and where your food comes from, let's face it, the oceans aren't that clean anyway. So it's one of those things where you're making decisions and choices. Farm salmon I drew the line. I said that at a press release when we first opened Aroma Time back in 2003. I think I said that at a press release in 2004, 2005, that I vow to never serve farmed salmon, and I made that in a press release, sent it out, got a couple places to write articles on that, and I've stuck by that since we first opened here. And I haven't served farmed salmon since 99, I think, 2000. One of those times was the last time I actually served farm salmon. I learned the difference back in 99 and quickly adapted where I was at, and every place I've worked after that, we've gone to wild salmon only. So the 2 country clubs that I worked after that were wild salmon only, and the restaurant that I was working at in Colorado, we switched as well. So once you get educated on that kind of stuff, it's hard to support that. So Don does a great job there in Scotland exposing all these salmon farms. I don't think there's any salmon farm that is doing open pen salmon farming. Open pen, that's a traditional way you farm salmon in the ocean, that can really make claims that they're doing it the right way. There's no right way to do the wrong thing, according to Alexandra Morton, the marine biologist in British Columbia, who's been on several Facebook Lives with us over the years. Another person who's a crusader, who is throwing her arms up and saying this is insanity, what we're doing to our ecosystem, or what's happening to the orca whales, what's happening to the bears, all as a result of salmon farms coming in and killing off the wild salmon. So that's the biggest besides the fish dying themselves, they spread all that disease into the ocean. And most salmon farms, they put them in the migratory path of the wild salmon. So all of those salmon that get sick and all that disease and all that lice and the wild fish swim right by because it's a migratory path. And when they're little baby fry, when they're baby fish, and they swim by and lice attach it to these fish, that fish does not have a chance. That fish is gone. The adults have less of a problem because what happens with the adults is, as they're swimming past the salmon farms, when they're laying their eggs, when they're spawning, they actually go into the stream and up. And once the salmon hits fresh water, no more salt water, the lice die naturally. The lice can't live in fresh water, so that's their mechanism. So the adult salmon that are spawning swim by, the lice attach themselves, they hit the mouth of the river, and they swim, and the lice just naturally die off. But the opposite direction, when the babies come out of the fresh water and go into the salt water, and they're ready to live their life, and the lice attach to them, the salmon have no chance, and they're gone. I think every single one dies at that point. So this is why farm salmon, just another reason why farm salmon is one of the worst things to possibly eat. It's not good for the environment, it's not good for our ecosystem, and it's not good for our bodies. And don't let any other chef tell you different. And don't go into a. I've gone into fish markets and they're sitting there touting like, oh, there's no reason not to be worried about farm salmon. I've seen this in fish markets. There's no reason to be worried about farm salmon. This is sustainable farm salmon, this, and this. All that is just smoke and mirrors. All of that is smoke and mirrors. There's no right way to do the wrong thing. I don't care if it's from the Faroe Islands. A lot of chefs are stuck on Faroe Island salmon because if you go to the Faroe Island website, the Faroe Islands have done an amazing marketing job showing you that their salmon are farmed in the wild. And it shows aerial shots of these pens out there in the mountains and clean water, but it never shows you what's underneath the water. And what's underneath the water is what counts. All right, what's happening in the salmon farm, where the fish are, is what counts. And that's just basic, but they never really show you inside unless it's a promotional piece where they have this great image, right, of these healthy fish, but that's not the reality of it. Alexandra Morton, in the last year or so, 2 years, they've gotten into the salmon farms, they've dropped in GoPros, they get next to the farms, to the nets, and they drop GoPros, and they see everything that's going on. These fish swimming crooked, sideways, deformed, fish just sitting there dying, floating down to their death. All that is there, but you don't see that on the top surface. So there's nothing to brag about when it comes to showing you underneath. The best way to find out about a salmon farm, like if a chef tells you, oh, this salmon's the best, it's from the Faroe Islands, or it's from, this place in Chile, or it's from there, this is the best, this is the most sustainable, they're doing it right. Say to them, let's have a conversation with the people who live next to the farm. They're the ones that are going to tell you. They're the ones that are going to smell the odors, smell the rotten fish. They're the ones that are going to see the fish mortality and see them yanking out thousands upon thousands upon thousands of pounds of dead fish at a time, throwing them into these trucks and watching the trucks drive off with dead salmon juice dripping all over the street. These are the people that will tell you the real story about what's happening at these salmon farms. So, right now, if you're buying salmon anywhere and it says Atlantic and it says wild Atlantic, that's wrong. There's no such thing as wild Atlantic salmon. I did a thing several weeks ago. In fact, I can do it again here really quick. If I were to go to Yelp.com, and if I put in, let's see, search for quote-unquote wild Atlantic salmon, and I'm going to search, let's just say Albany. Let's see what happens with Albany. I'm not sure if I can show you. I can probably flip my computer around showing you. All right, so I want to say nothing showed up in Albany. Let's do another bigger city. It shows up when you hit Newburgh. All right, so there's a lot of restaurants right now that have. I just did Boston. Actually, 7 restaurants. 7 restaurants in Boston that are using the term wild Atlantic salmon. Boston is a very educated fish town. Boston has amazing seafood vendors. Steve Connolly, Foley's Fish Market. They have some really awesome, top-notch. They had Gloucester, the best seafood market, far better than Hunts Point. Hunts Point's the secondary market. So Boston is a very educated seafood town, very educated. The seafood vendors are on top of it there. The restaurants are on top of it. And there's still 7 places within Boston right now that show that they're serving wild Atlantic salmon. When you do New York City, it's a total disaster. New York City, of course, has a lot more restaurants, a ton more restaurants. And we'll get pages and pages and pages here of places that are advertising in New York City right now. Yeah, I mean, I have, let's see, 4 pages in New York City on Yelp. You can scroll through 4 pages of of restaurants that actually are using the term, quote unquote, wild Atlantic salmon on their menu. Right now, currently, or in one of their reviews, somebody said, love the wild Atlantic salmon that was on the menu. That's 4 pages of results for New York City right now. If you do Newburgh, you type in Newburgh, you get results. Want a couple in Newburgh and a couple outer from Newburgh. So there is no wild Atlantic salmon. It's not available commercially. You cannot serve it in a restaurant. There's no commercial catch of it. You might be able to go sport fish it on the St. Lawrence and things like that. And that's something totally different than buying enough for a restaurant. It's not available. All right, folks, that is it for now. I have to get going. I got to go for my run. Really got to go for my run out there. Stay tuned later. I'll be doing a Facebook Live with Franz from the Pharmacy Kitchen and Bar, the new restaurant in Goshen. Him and I have a big announcement to make later today. Huge announcement, in fact, later to make. So check that out. I'm not sure what channel will be on of his. We'll try to duplicate it on a couple different channels. And that's it, folks. Thanks for tuning in. We appreciate it, and we'll talk to you later.